Hey everybody, Nikki Burnett here, functional nutritionist, and my practice is Taves Life Nutrition. I have been doing these videos with some experts, and that are experts outside of my field. And so one of my partners in crime, if you will, is Sarah Eisenbud. She is a narrative therapist. She's a psychotherapist, but her specialty is narrative therapy. Now I'm going to give her the opportunity to explain what that is. But I want to talk a little bit about why I wanted to bring Sarah in, because she is so amazing at what she does. And we have come together to work on a project called Nourish. It's an experiential nutrition workshop.
Yeah.
And so we've done this in the past. I'm hoping at some point that we can get it online and get it out to everybody, because it's really amazing, because I get to bring my expertise around food and nutrition and the science of the body, and Sarah gets to bring her expertise in the mental and the emotional aspects of food, and she deals with all kinds of things outside of food, but she's amazing at what she does. And so I wanted to bring her in because I surround myself with people intentionally that are super smart in what they do, and I am amazed and fascinated by the people that are out there that are here to help us be the people that we're put on earth to be. And Sarah is definitely one of those people. So Sarah, you want to talk a little bit about what it means to be a narrative therapist?
Thanks, Nikki. That was a really great introduction to me and what I do. Hope to live up to that.
Oh, you do.
Well, like Nikki was saying, we've worked together in the past, and hopefully future, getting another Nourish workshop off the ground. I'm a narrative therapist, which means that while I'm trained as a counselor and psychotherapist, I try to work with people's stories. And when I'm working with Nikki, we've worked a lot around people's stories about food, their bodies, their environments. Narrative therapy kind of has a few precepts. It says that people aren't problems. Problems are problems. They exist in the world and in between our relationships to things, instead of inside of us, like we're broken and something's wrong and you'll never be fixed because of something that happened in your childhood. I kind of reject that and try to work with people in this moment to redefine their relationships with whatever troubles are influencing them. And food, we all know, can start becoming a real problem for people. They get into adversarial relationships with it and think, sort of pit themselves against food. It's me versus food.
You see the dogs in the background.
Chili scurrying across.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's a tiny bit about narrative therapy. Yeah, I work with couples, with individuals, and with groups, trying to help people find empowering, creative, exciting stories so that they can live in ways that nourish their spirits and are in accordance with their values. Today we're talking a little bit away from story. I think we were going to talk a little bit about the nervous system.
Yeah, we're just going to dive right in and talk about the good stuff.
Yeah, well, because that's often where I start when I'm working with clients. Because we can get deep into story and work with a lot of problems, and essentially, if people don't have access to a calm, regulated state in their bodies, it's hard to absorb that information and get connected to some of the bigger, juicier, more exciting work that I do. Yeah, so I don't know if it makes the most sense for you to start just talking about the nervous system in general, or if you'd like me to give an overview of how I think about the nervous system in narrative work.
I think that you just jump on in. Yeah.
Okay.
And I can give my little piece here in a little bit, but I want to hear you talk about this stuff.
Okay.
I think everybody else does too.
Well, coming in, so, I mean, maybe I will, though, ask you just for a little definition on the nervous system at some point, but the nervous system is, the way that I conceptualize it, how our bodies and our minds are communicating, as though our minds and bodies are separate, which maybe they're not really. But we've got this big executive functioning system up here in our heads, and then we've got these bodies, which are just complicated, and Nikki talks a lot about the different nutrients and transmitters, and we've got these electrical systems and these organs and this,
It's
GI
the most
tract.
amazing thing that our body runs on electricity. I mean, like, how does that work?
Yeah, so there's this big complicated peripheral system, and ideally when things are balanced, we've got this glorious brain that's keeping it regulated. unfortunately, that brain can be lazy and stupid sometimes, and we go into just a set combination of patterns. So we've got a peripheral nervous system out here in our body, and then the brain is part of the nervous system as well. And so when we go into certain states of stress or trauma, I like to think that it's like we climb a ladder down from the top of our brain where all the exciting adult stuff happens, down into the lower parts of our brain that just keep us safe. So our nervous system has been trained to keep us safe. From the time that we're babies, if we start getting jostled around, it'll make everything in our body tense up so that our necks don't break. From the time that we are little kids, when something happens that's a loud noise or that scares us, it puts us onto high alert, shuts off the top of our brain, sends all of the blood out to our appendages and our low brain, and lets us act really quickly. So these are brilliant, brilliant adaptations that have occurred over a long period of time. And sometimes they can start to work against us because we no longer live in really unsafe environments. The same system that was created to keep me safe from a saber-toothed tiger keeps me stressed out and eating complex carbohydrates when I'm just living in an office environment or sitting here and we hear chili running from behind. My body and nervous system isn't smart enough to know that chili isn't a saber-toothed tiger.
So interesting. It really is. Yeah.
Is this making sense the way that I'm sharing about
absolutely.
it? Or is it...
No, you're doing great.
It's always hard to know whether it's too broad or too narrow when you talk about the sciencey stuff.
Yeah, especially when you're talking to a phone.
When you can't tell, I can't see if you guys are really engaged or understand what I'm saying. So when we think about, in the context of nutrition and in the context of therapy work, I guess we don't need to distinguish between them. Helping people get to a regulated state is the goal. And so we think about the nervous system as being dysregulated or regulated. So when the nervous system is dysregulated, it means that I've gone out of balance. I no longer have the right level of communication going from my body to my brain. It's telling messages that might be mixed or confusing or not appropriate. And so our bodies do things. Again, they're smart while they're also stupid and lazy. And so they try to get back into regulation by reaching out and trying to figure out a way to get back into balance. One of the quickest ways that the nervous system can regulate is by getting a jolt of energy into the brain by food. So that's smart. I'm going to reach for something and I'm going to give my body some sort of a soothing sense. I'm going to give my body access to some glutamine, right? This is what we call, is that what is the chemical the brain runs on? No, there's sort of like sugar when it goes in the action potential.
Glucose. I was like, what?
So
both of us.
Well, because when you want to have action potentials, you want the brain to move, it wants a little food.
Right. So glucose or ketones, but yes.
Okay. Yeah. You're like, there's lots of food that the brain runs on. So it wants things like that, and the fastest way that it sees to get that is sugar. The simplest, fastest, stupidest sugar that you can eat. So when I have access to the top of my brain here, I can know that, okay, I'm going to eat some nut butter and that'll make me feel better and calm me down and give me sustained energy. When we get into really stressed out, anxious, worrisome states, we don't have access to that part of our brain. So our brains are going to run for the fastest, quickest, dirtiest thing it can see. It will see almond butter here and cotton candy here, and it's going to run for the cotton candy because that's going to fix it in the moment.
What I love about what you're saying here, I think, is, we tend to beat ourselves up so often about the food that we eat. Why did we go for the cotton candy? And it's my fault, and I'm a bad person, and I have no control, and all of these terrible self-deprecating things. And really, it's chemical. I mean, there are some things that we need to balance in order for you to be able to, or me or anybody, to be able to make those decisions. So I hate it when people beat themselves up. I have clients that beat themselves up about this stuff all the time. I saw one yesterday. And it's so difficult, which is why when I have clients like that, I say, okay, we can work on the food stuff and give you the education, but let's talk to Sarah, because she can help you get past these sort of psychological, not I want to say problems, but
they're just conditioned responses.
Thank you.
Maybe is what we would call them. And sometimes we'll use problems or troubles. They're just the things that are in our lives that are getting between us and our true selves, our values, our creativity, our ideas. So these just little nonsense bits of things that come in and say, hey, I'm going to stand between you and what you really want.
Yeah.
Which for a lot of us, I think, especially people who consult Nikki, what we really want is to be eating food in a nourishing, celebratory, exciting way, so that we have the energy and the bodies and the regulated nervous system that allows us to go out and help others and do things we love.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So there's these little things, and this, I like that you brought up, that this can be kind of empowering and let us off the hook a little bit. Because it's not that we're doing something wrong, it's that we're doing something right. It's that these systems that were put into place to protect us and keep us functioning, they're working. They're not working maybe at their
peak,
at their highest, but they're there. There's wisdom in reaching for the cotton candy. Because the cotton candy is going to get me so I can have a thought and keep moving forward if I'm being chased by a monster.
Yeah. Or chili.
Or chili. Well, that's the thing. Because now that we know that there really aren't a lot of monsters or tigers or big, we're not, at least here in this country, in this time, the people we consult are not living in war areas. Right. We're seldom living in a moment-to-moment state of fear and worry. Or if we are, there's not really a cause for it. So we get access to some new choices.
Yeah.
When we think about, okay, I'm safe enough that I can start trying to short circuit some of these responses.
Yeah.
And so that's what I work with a lot with my clients, a lot of the things that we teach, which would be, and I call it nervous system regulation techniques, which can sound a little wordy, but it just basically means...
So technical.
It basically means some ways to balance yourself that are a little smarter than cotton candy.
A little bit, yeah. Perfect.
And the great thing about this loop is that it works both ways. So our brain communicates with our bodies, but our bodies also are sending information back. So there's all these different places to interrupt the cycle. So one way that I like to think about it is, instead of reaching for that, and it's not always cotton candy, it can be things like heroin, like compulsive sex with strangers. It can be anything that's going to jolt the body. We're going out there and we're looking for sensation. So the nice thing is that we can get sensation in different ways. So I think about nervous system regulation exercises as being anything that enlivens and moves the five senses. Anything that we can touch or smell or hear or taste. These are the kinds of things that we can do, and different things seem to work for different people. Do you have some things that like a sense that really is the one that you find most calming or most invigorating in the world?
Oh, it's I should say my husband.
Oh, no, like of your senses, of like touching, tasting, smelling, hearing.
Well, I would say a couple things. Food, obviously, food is a big part of my life. And so I love food, and I love to cook, and I love the sensation of food. I also have learned to love the sensation of knowing that I'm feeding myself healthy nutrients. Another thing, and I hope this counts, would be my dogs. I mean, so
touching
their love, and I love to touch them, and I love to smell them, and so many things about them, are just my heart. So and dogs in general. I'm gonna do a Facebook Live on dogs here before too long, and dog nutrition, and it's a big part of my life. And so if I'm upset, I go to the dogs, really. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Well, and that's why. So a lot of these things, once we get healthier, we might automatically be doing them. But it can be helpful when we're in beginning stages of change and growth to be more intentionally drawing attention to them. Because one thing, touching a dog, petting a dog for a couple minutes has... I mean, I don't know the exact... I'd have to look up the articles. But there's so many articles that tell us about... how neuroprotective that can be. It regulates our nervous system. You've probably had the experience of being really sad or angry or stressed, and you take a dog and put it on your chest and stroke it a little bit, and instantly, that's not just by chance or just because you love your dog a lot. There's a lot of sensation that goes into touching and stroking the dog. You're feeling friction on your hands, which is one of the things we know regulates the nervous system. We know that friction is regulating. So
That's so interesting to me.
It is. So one of the first things that I might teach people to do, because people have a sense of, if I'm going to get my nervous system regulated, I need to do mindfulness exercises. I need to do yoga an hour a day and learn how to meditate and become a Zen, wonderful person. And sure, that's wonderful if it's your journey. I love yoga. I love meditation. But a lot of the benefits from regulating your nervous system can come from petting a dog and feeling that friction. My favorite one of moves is taking your arms and giving yourself...
Okay.
So we're not real stressed out right now, but if we were, that might have really calmed us down. Because
so interesting.
It reminds your body, your mind that might be going into panic mode now has to send some energy over to your arms to feel those sensations. Also, neurons are sending back little bits of information to your brain that say, okay, we've got pressure on our arms. We're here. We're in our body. We're able to touch our body. And it brings the attention down. It can really calm people.
She told me, Sarah told me a story. Well, I don't know if it's a story, but she was talking about how she, and this, I think this is a good thing for all of us in traffic. This Denver traffic is. I'm from Dallas, and Denver has much worse traffic than Dallas does.
Yeah.
But when we get into that place of frustration and anger, when you're in traffic and that road rage, and so you told me about something that you do in your car to calm you. What is that?
I don't even know which one.
Oh.
I have a few different ones.
Okay.
So I'll do a steering wheel.
Okay.
Hold on. I will do a chest touch if I can. What was the one that I shared with you?
I thought it was something with your foot.
Oh, this is my favorite one all the time. It's called Remember You Have Feet.
I love that. I don't know how I forgot it.
Yeah, it's just called Remember That You Have Feet. I invented this. I coined this term. So I'll be like, #Remember That You Have Feet.
We're going to put that up here. We're going to hashtag it.
And this is one where you don't have to do anything except recognize that you're in a dysregulated state. And you might know that because your heart rate has gone up. You might know that because you're ready to throttle your child or somebody, in traffic. You might know that because you feel like, I really need to go and eat an entire tub of ice cream right now. All you do is you place in your mind a thought that you have feet, and you feel them, and you think about them.
So fun.
For 1 minute. Well, not even 1 minute. Maybe 1 second.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 seconds.
Yeah. Just bringing yourself back
into your body and grounding.
Yeah.
And some people don't have a lot of body awareness, or I work with people a lot of experienced trauma. The body doesn't feel very safe. Focusing on a piece of the body can have the opposite effect. Bring on panic, bring on negative thoughts and stories. Typically the feet are one of the safest places in the body to go. And if you can't feel comfortable or safe anywhere else, thinking just about one pinky toe on your foot, or the little palm touching the floor, the palm of your... Is there a technical term for that?
The bottom of your foot?
The bottom of your foot, yeah.
The sole.
The sole, that is the...
The technical term for the bottom of your foot.
That is that's the fancy word that experts use. Talking about things. So that's one. And those are some of the more body-based ones. Another one that there's a lot of research on that they'll teach you is to put one hand on your chest and the other on your diaphragm. And just breathe and hold.
Yeah.
Again, that's somehow sending messages, and if we had a, cool neuroscientist here, they might be able to tell us why or how. I just know that it works. Somehow the messages, you're creating a loop, and the messages in your body are then sending messages to your brain that say you're safe.
I find that I do that almost without thinking. Is I will lay like this, whether it's in bed or if it's at yoga, or if I'm outside. I like to meditate in the sun because I like to be in the sun. And I'll find myself like this.
Absolutely. See, I'm always taken aback by, Nikki, your ability to just intuitively be doing such an amazing job of taking care of yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I mean, you just live your life in a way where you seem to be getting in touch with, just naturally ways to keep yourself regulated, happy, nourished,
Thank you. I've total side note. No, I've been working on it really hard lately. Actually, just trying to be calm and know that everything happens in the time that it's supposed to happen. And so it is hard work to bring that into life, but it is. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, for the rest of us, me included, it comes a little harder. It wouldn't have occurred to me that we might call that self-soothing, to soothe in that way. I would have been much more likely, I had a very troubled past, so I would have been much more likely to just be like, I'm gonna drink some bourbon.
Yeah, that works too.
Back before I had my journey of slowly healing and getting better skills. I mean, a few other ones. Pressure. So that's a little bit of pressure, but big pressure, laying down on the floor in a moment of real panic or real worry or real craving for some food that is not going to serve your highest good, laying completely down and getting pressure on the whole front of your body on the ground. Even having somebody lay on top of you if you've got a
that's
person.
so interesting.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites for real moments of distress and worry, are being like, could you just lay on top of me? I'm just going to lay on the floor. But all of that pressure, again, is going to send those regulating messages back to the brain.
Very cool.
You can, if you don't feel like laying on the floor, you're not somewhere clean, you can push your body against the wall. Some people buy or get weighted blankets. Yeah, I've been wanting to get an X-ray, leaded jacket for my office to just put on people when they're really stressed out.
So cool.
Yeah. So those are some of the more physical, and there's so many. A bit of exercise can be another one. So just doing 5 jumping jacks really fast gets your body back in line.
And exercise increases your serotonin.
So in addition to being regulating, it's also going to give you some other things. And again, we're not talking about you need to go running for an hour or go to the gym. Although, going to the gym is probably a good thing to do. But to get the benefits from
movement is good. Yeah.
To get the benefits from regulation and thinking about it, it doesn't need to be a lot. It's thinking about doing the minimum possible thing to get you feeling back in control and helping you climb the ladder back up to this part of your brain, the smart part, the part that makes decisions.
Part. I like it.
The part that has values and knows what you want and what you're up to.
Right.
Because when we're down here, this part of my brain, when I've called down the ladder, it doesn't know that I'm trying to eat in a way that supports my immune system so that my autoimmune disorder is in check.
Right.
It's unaware. It doesn't know what an autoimmune does.
Doesn't care.
But up here, we can climb the ladder up. So those are some of the body-based ones. Again, for different people, even drinking a cup of tea, having that access to warm or cold, and then a taste of something that might be real bitter or really, just something that's going to jolt and be strong enough that it's going to draw the attention of your body and mind.
Yeah.
So those can be savoring, putting one strawberry in your mouth and moving it around for as long as possible, tasting it. And
we did this as part of our Nourish workshop, which was really fun. We did chocolate and strawberries, right? And it was really interesting. So I hoping that we'll get this workshop out to everybody. But
well, yeah, and maybe we'll even just do a savoring minute video another time.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Get everybody to be like, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna savor together for a few minutes.
That's a good idea. I like it.
But smells can be the same. A lot of people use essential oils. There might be a certain
yeah.
scent that you find really regulating and have, I've had clients who have like a bottle of lavender or something that they'll carry around with them, and when things get overwhelming, they'll...
And they have some specifically, if anybody saw one of these last week, it was on essential oils, and they have the combinations that are there for whether it's mental and emotional stability or balance, or I do one that's called elevation. Anyway, it's so interesting how they are so impactful on our bodies. Just smelling these scents, it's really, I think for some, a really big deal and really calming.
And I mean, again, the thing that's so wonderful about being a human being is that we all have our own abilities, our own makeup, our bodies genetically and chemically are really different. So I have and I think now Nikki's going to be giving it, but I have like a resource list where I list out just tons of these different activities that you can try, and you find the things that work for you versus
Go ahead.
the things. Sorry.
No, I know. I'm playing
finding
with
the things that work for you and not for others. Like, I don't know how often I've talked to people who say, I try deep breathing, but it hasn't, deep breathing stresses me out.
Yeah.
You'd be like, okay, then don't deep breathe. Remember you have feet. Drink tea. Some people find that cold water, doing something really cold or really warm will help. Putting a rice bag on their chest that warms their body, or an ice pack. Going in the shower and flashing cold water on your body. Again, there's just so many different possibilities, and if there's any takeaway, I think now I've repeated it a few times, but it's, you don't have to be a mindfulness expert or go way out of your way or be some Zen master genius of regulation to be able to use the idea of nervous system regulation in your life, especially around stress, anxiety, or food.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So the only thing that I want to add to that, I think, is when we talk about the nervous system, there are two parts of the nervous system. We call it the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. And I know I have talked about this in the past, so this could be repetitive for some of you, but I think it's really important to say over and over again, because it makes a difference. So for one, when it comes, our sympathetic nervous system is our fight or flight. This is our, so when our catecholamines are our adrenal, our catecholamines are our adrenal hormones, which are cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and those are the ones that we were talking about. Those are the saber-toothed tiger, the chili is going to attack us, the mode.
When you crawl down the ladder, so we'll talk about those as brainstem and limbic system function.
Okay, there you go. And so that is what keeps us safe. And Sarah said just the same thing. It's what keeps us safe. And so cortisol, for one, is really important, and in that mode where it is a high stress mode where you're trying to keep your body safe, cortisol goes up and it's anti-inflammatory and it helps the body do what it needs to do. And you've heard about the people that lift cars off kids and that kind of thing. It's amazing what our bodies have the ability to do. Now, what can happen, and what happens to a lot of people, I see it in practice all the time, is that that fight or flight mode stays elevated, which means our cortisol stays elevated. And in this chronically stressed state, then cortisol becomes inflammatory. And so it also then is catabolic. So what does that mean? It's breaking down muscle tissue. So the body's gonna hold on to adipose or to fat, and it's going to break down muscle tissue, and it's going to be inflammatory. So this is why it's so important to be aware of those high stress, or if you're in this constant high stress mode, this is what's going on in the body. Now,
how cool. Is it alright if I ask a
Yeah,
question?
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, are you saying to some degree that that keeping your nervous system regulated might actually help you lose or maintain a healthy weight?
Yes, absolutely.
So it won't just feel good in your body. It might actually be like, instead of dieting and eating some weird diet, you could just learn how to keep yourself regulated by doing nice things to your body.
Meditate, be calm, bring the cortisol down. Then you have the ability to build muscle and reduce fat. Yeah.
How cool. I'd never even thought about that as a benefit. That's really helpful.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
And so our parasympathetic state is our rest and digest. And it's, let me back up. The sympathetic, all of the blood goes to our limbs, our arms and our legs, because that's what we have to use. And it's shunted essentially away from the mid body. So all of our organs have less blood because it's going to our arms and our legs. Now, in a parasympathetic state, rest and digest, you're calm, and the blood goes to the middle part of the body, which allows the food to be digested that you eat and it to be utilized. So one of the reasons, besides the fact that we want to try to keep ourselves in a nice calm state, is when we eat, if we are in this high stress mode where all of the blood is shunted away from the organs, we have a difficult time digesting food. And so when we have food in front of us, one of the great things that you would think is not a big deal, but it's such a big deal, is to have the food in front of you and to, as you would say, savor it, to appreciate it, to if you pray, be thankful for it. And smell it and taste it and think about the food and keep the TV off and be away from the computer and don't think about all of the stresses of life. Think about what's going on here. So you bring all of the blood to the center of the body, and it allows you to actually utilize the nutrients that you're taking in, especially when you come to that place where you are so aware of what you're taking and you're appreciating the nourishment and the taste. Good food tastes good and it nourishes us, and it's so, that in and of itself is soothing. So think about that when this was a difficult one for me. I office out of my home and I grab lunch and I sit. I'm not doing it now, but I used to. I would sit in front of my computer and work. I am creating better habits daily. It's a daily practice for everybody, and for me as well. But I actually will go outside. I'll sit there, I'll savor my food, I'll hang out with my dogs. I may finish and close my eyes and rest on the bench outside for a little while and do a little meditation. Bringing all of this down, I'm going to tell you, as I've done this, my whole body in work, as a solopreneur, it's pretty stressful, and I have found that I'm much, much more calm in my life. And it's been, and this, again, really recent stuff within the last few months. So it's been amazing to see the change, and it does make a difference in your body and outside in all the people that you deal with and the work that you're doing. It's making a big deal, and you're taking care of yourself. Yeah.
How wonderful. Yeah, what a beautiful practice.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been good.
It is making me think about yesterday sitting at my office eating my lunch in front of my computer while I was doing some work.
Rest and digest. Rest and digest.
Yeah, I'm going to take this and feel inspired and sort of accept an invitation today to savor my lunch.
Yay! That's perfect.
Yeah. I'm going to extend an invitation for you to savor your lunch too.
Absolutely. Get away from the computer. Get away from everything and just enjoy the food that you're eating and love it, because it's nice, and we've been given this beautiful, amazing life, and we should nourish every piece of it. So let's see, do we have anything else?
I think that's a lot.
It is a lot.
Sort of a lot of things, and opened a lot of doors that I feel like we could walk through, but maybe we'll just have to walk through them in the future. We'll leave them sort of hanging ajar. Well, so now you see why I love Sarah so much. She's so full of knowledge and wisdom, and we will certainly continue to do this. I love bringing in people that have such amazing brains. I love your brain. Oh, thank you. I love your brain too. I think our brains fit together well because they work
They do.
differently.
Exactly. It's exactly true. We're great partners. And so we'll do this again. Tomorrow I'm going to be with Fran Gallagher, so I'm super excited about that. I think on Friday, if I can get myself together, I'm going to start talking about inflammation. And then go from there. So since this is on my business page, I'm not seeing comments. So if you have any comments or questions, you can post them and we can either use them for a later Facebook Live posting, or I'll just answer them. Also, go to Sarah's Facebook page and her website, Denver Narrative Therapy Project. She's amazing. Do you do phone consults?
I do. I offer free phone consultations for anybody who's interested in finding a therapist or who might be interested in working with me. I love getting people connected to resources, so even if I'm not a good fit, I love helping people find somebody who can help them, or groups, or whatever it is that might be helping them tear down those barriers between them and their most exciting self.
Good. Do you do consults with people outside of Denver?
Oh no, I don't.
No. Okay.
Because I'm regulated by the Department of Regulatory Agencies.
Okay.
And so unfortunately you can't practice psychotherapy across state lines.
Okay.
But I do have some partnerships with people out of state, and again, always feel free to call me for a consultation to help you get connected to somebody or whatever resources you need where you are, even if you are out of state.
Awesome. All right. Very good. All right, thanks everybody. We will see you tomorrow, and we'll see Sarah again. I think also, and I'm going to put this out there, that Sarah might start doing this on her own Facebook page too. So
maybe I feel pretty awkward being on video, but we'll give it a give it a try.
It's not easy.
And I'd like to do some interview. Like I'd like to have a chance to interview you a little bit about what got you into this and some of your journey. We heard a little today, and it seems like a compelling story that people need to hear.
Thanks. All right, good. Let us know if you have any questions. Y'all have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Bye.